make sure there's drinks on board, and tuning, we'll need to talk about that. One thing I have done, I make sure that all my sail controls on the boat work well, which means like my sail lube and I've got tape. Those two things really run my boat a lot. I tape off my spinnaker hire, because I got a nice snap shackle on that. Anything that's got a snap shackle, I make sure I put tape on it. Because that's one thing with this boat of dragging these 8 kites out, that if you tie bowline, it has a tendency to snag and knot, where if you do a snap shackle with a swivel and you tape it off, you have less hourglasses and the snap shackle doesn't come undone. So that's what I've noticed about my boat. I replaced the halyard once and I did a bowline, and the bowline would always catch on the scrubbers going up and stop in my crew. So, and also when you get an hourglass, then it didn't come out very well either. So I went back to the halyard with a snap shackle and a swivel. That's enough. So sail lube is very, very important. The travel on this boat is very inefficient, but you have to use it. And so sail lube is the only thing that my wife can get the traveler up with. And so I hit that every time. As far as drinks go, the boat is a really nice wide open cockpit, but there's no place for drinks. So I make my own drink holders, and you know, this is Kmart or Target plant, where you put plants in it, and there's Velcro, and I just bang it in with a grommet. This goes right around the stanchion, okay? And these things hold really well. It's really hard for them to rip out and lose a beer. And you drill a hole in the bottom, which is real important. Otherwise, when you heel over sometimes, it kind of fills up with water and ruins your beer. So you don't want that to happen. So it's all about making the crew very, very comfortable, and also making the crew not move around much. So weight placement is very important in this boat also. So that's primarily most of my prep. The tuning part is pretty simple. I set the boat up for 10 mile-an-hour of breeze, and that's it. Okay. If the wind's less than that, I have a trick to loosen the rig, where I don't even have to adjust any turnbuckles or that kind of stuff. And it's really easy. You take that mast chalk up there, and you take the wind channel and just tap it out. And that allows the mast to move around, and it softens the forestay. And when it allows to move around, what the mast only does is straighten up, and it puts more power into the mainsail, and the forestay gets soft because there's no stability in that mast. So, and then when the breeze picks up, I'll put the backstay on, bend the mast, tap in that chalk, and I'm good to go.
Do you have the collar all the way around the mast, or is it the block?
I've got a collar all the way around, so when I tap it up, that little plastic thing just kind of holds it there.
Is that one you bought somewhere, or did you make it out of polyurethane?
I bought that through the J-boat guys.
Okay.
They sold a collar that was pretty close, and then I just ground it a little bit just so it was square in the mast. So when you tap that collar up, you got the mast plumbed and square and all that kind of stuff. And all these things you do, you know, the first time you're on the boat. You know what? You make sure the shrouds are square, the mast is in column, from port to starboard, that kind of stuff. And with the mast collar out, and you look at the mast placement in the deck, and you measure it and make sure that it's right in line. In my particular collar, I had to grind a little bit off the, it might have been the starboard side. I grind a little bit off of it so that the mast didn't push left or right. Interesting is when this mast kicks a little bit left or right, all of a sudden you get an S, and that's not quick. So, but anyway, make long short, that's my fast adjustment on that.
Now, you said you set it up for 10 knots, and there's about 5 or 6 different tuning guides. You've got one that I like a lot.
Yeah.
On your website. Do you think yours is the best for all of us, or should we go with the one that matches our sails?
So I became a quantum guy And so I started using their tuning guide.
Okay.
And their tuning guide, best way to put it, is for optimum performance. Well, we don't have optimum performance out here. So I take these numbers here and I go a little bit lighter because the rig is a little too tight for me. So I'd rather be on the loose side than the tight side. So matter of fact, they said a 10-mile-an-hour breeze, they want the uppers at 24. Well, uppers at 24 on this loose gauge is 300 pounds plus. So it's a little heavy, you know what? So I'll do a little bit lighter than that, just for all-around sailing. Now, I guess it was spring when the race committee sent us up the lake and we sailed towards Highline. Remember that? When it was blowing like 20. I cranked the lowers on about 3 turns just to pull that mast back and give me good forestay tension. That way when I put the backstay on, the mast didn't want to bend and put all the pressure to the forestay. Now, the reason I'm bringing these things up is I want you to know how this boat works. This boat's got 2 gears upwind, okay? It's got a pinch mode that is incredible. It really, really points very, very high. And it's got a foot mode that's about almost a half a knot faster. And so when you're sailing out here on Lake Travis and there's 20-degree shifts, sometimes footing is fast. Sometimes pinching gets you to the wind faster. So the way you pinch, obviously in this J situation, is that you make sure that the lead position on your foot of that sail is taut to the point when you pull it back, the top of the sail will be about 3 inches inside the spreader tip. If you go further inside the spreader tip than 3 inches, it has a tendency to stall the boat, and the boat doesn't go fast forward. Okay. The jib on this boat, on this particular boat, is more of a telltale than it is power. It's actually the thing that controls the skipper when to head up, when to bear off, that kind of, gives you that kind of information, feedback. So it's real important to get the jib draft placement in the right place. It's real important to get the sheet lead in the right place. See, Ray, can you pull up that picture of that flat jib that you had with a fine anchor, if you don't mind? So when I'm out there racing on Lake Travis, and I know I have these 2 gears to work with, I mostly try to get upwind as fast as possible. The way I do that is by pinching. And that means I usually sail very, very flat on my sails. I move the lead back, and I travel up on the main. So, but the bad part about traveling up on this mainsail that you have here is if you travel up too much, the boat will rudder load up, and you'll have a lot of weather helm, but you won't have any forward speed. So the only way to get forward speed out of this bad boy is have a fair amount of curvature in the front end of this sail. The quantum sail that I use, it's got a fairly fine entry, which makes the forestay sag very critical, okay? So if a sail has got a, let's do this real quick. And this is the front end, okay? If it's got a fine entry on the sail, and what that does, it gives the boat more weather helm and makes the boat pinch really well, but she has no forward speed. So like the quantum sail that I have, even in this wind right here, I would tighten it up so much that it's got a vertical wrinkle. This is what the boat likes.
Now, are you trying to move the draft forward by doing that?
I'm trying to move the draft forward because it does a couple things. By moving the draft forward, it flattens this sail out even more, okay? and it gives my wife something to drive to in the front end where she can bubble it. So if you have a real nice round entry right here, you can bubble that front end and go upwind.
That's
And
true
then-
even in lighter.
Even lighter, yeah. So it's so easy in this particular boat, the way that jib is such a high aspect ratio jib, it's so easy to move the lead forward and close the lead off and make the float really round. But we don't sail in enough chop to really generate any power down low. It's all about height. And we don't need that punch. The waves are flat. You know what? Mostly is get the boat. You need to think about a flat foil like this, the boat goes faster, right? But it also means that you don't attack as much. All right? So let's take a look at something real quick here.
So John, you think this is a fairly flat jib, this boat over here?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And the neat thing about these high aspect ratio jibs, if you want a full, all you do is ease the sheet, move the lead forward just a little bit.
Okay.
You know what? All of a sudden, it takes a flat sail and generates a lot of power. You know what? Definitely does. But I move the lead back so that the foot's fairly flat, and I'm 3 inches off the spread.
3 inches off
Or inside the spread. Yeah, inside the spread. Now, the other thing that's pretty important is that if we round a mark and the fleet is right in front of us and we're sailing to people's wake, I'll crack it off out to the spreader tip or a little bit outside that, and I make Claudia drive to that.
Yeah.
And then that's the gear that gets me up to almost 6 knots. Yeah, 5.8 is about the target speed that the boat will take off and run at. My wife bought me one of these nice little GPS Garmin watches, and so I can see real quick, just like cracking the jib off, giving her about 5 minutes to sail to it, and especially these long courses, okay, that we've been sailing this last series. I'm not a fan of the long courses because then it means let's go play some shifts on Lake Travis, you know what? Like, let's go bang this corner, or let's go bang this corner, and scout a double kind of thing. So hopefully the next series will get into a little shorter courses, and that way we can play closer to each other. On these long courses, people get launched, you know what? And it's hard to reel them back in.
So John, the 5.8, is that in the pinch mode you're driving?
That's in foot mode.
That's foot mode.
That's foot mode. So my wife can sail around 5.2, 5.2, 5.4.
And that's pinch?
And that's pinch. And that height sometimes works really, really well. I'm going to show you some techniques here that we've done. I think work pretty good. So when you're sailing upwind in this boat, let's do it. Let me ask one thing. Has anybody ever sailed a J with like 7 or 8 people on the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Right? The boat loves it. The boat loves the weight. Even if they don't know anything about the boat. I mean, if they're just novice crew. I really like sailing with me and my wife. We know what's going on. And then everybody else, we just bring on board to teach them how to sail and figure it all out. And actually have that weight on board. And the boat loves the weight. It needs that weight going upwind, and it definitely needs that weight going downwind. And you're going to, I did a video of the last series race with a GoPro, and we turned downwind, we're flying the chute, we're all sitting on the high side, and you can tell the boat is flat. Everybody's out there, but we didn't have enough weight on the rail. And because it's flat, we obviously can't sail as good. Well, let's talk about this real quick, okay? This JD's got this gear, which is really neat. It's so heavy, and she's got narrow hips to herself. When you get her moving, and she's moving really quick, it costs 3 boat lengths to 2.5 boat lengths to tack, okay? So you want to minimize your tacks. So when you blast through a puff, and you see another puff up here, and you're going at about, let's say, 5.4. And that 5.4, you're able to sail at that speed when this puff was blowing about 7, right? Outside this puff, it's blowing 4, okay? So what happens, you're doing you're doing 5-4, you blow through this, all of a sudden you hit that lull of 4, okay? The first thing you should think about doing is heading up and slowing the boat down until the boat gets down to about 4 knots. And then when it gets down to about 4 knots, the sails will slowly start to refill and go again. The boat carries that weight. So, and the other thing is by you do a little bit of coming up after that puck, what you'll find is you'll get to the new puck faster. Whereas a lot of people do. I mean, here's the other thing that happens. You all know this. All right. Let's say, it's all about tacking angles, right? Your tacking angles are tighter inside of 7 than at 4. Sometimes at 4 knots, you're almost 90 degrees out on your tacks. And as the breeze picks up, your tacking angles get tighter, the boat points higher. So it makes sense to get the boat going really quick, keep it going fast, hit a lull, head upwind, let it slow down until the new wind is lighter, and then that will get you closer to the new puck faster. This is what the J does extremely well. And because you just have that little bitty jib up there, there's no power in it. All your power is everything in the back of the boat, twist of the neck. All right? So this is how we kind of, Claudia calls it, laddering up wind. As we go from one puff to the next. In the moth, which I used to sail, I don't anymore because I'm just too tired, too busy, all that kind of stuff. But that boat was extremely sensitive to wind, to the point that if one guy had a knot and a half more breeze than you, he was beaten to the weather mark by a half mile. Because that's what the speed differences are. This lake on a J80, it's the same thing. You've got to aggressively go after those puffs upwind. Very aggressive.
John, let's say you're sailing upwind, 12 knots, where you've got things tightened in a little bit, the boat's really powered up then. You sail, that's your puff, and you sail out of it and wind drops to 8 knots. What do you do to the boat to change gears to go?
The first thing I do is, in my mind, is I don't tack.
Okay.
Okay? So, if you tack a 7-knot breeze, you might only lose 2 bones. Okay? You tack in a 4-knot breeze, and you're going to lose 3 to 4. Okay? So you've got to have a really good reason to tack.
Okay.
So as the breeze drops just a touch, I make sure that I'm not tacking and I'm going in the right direction, and then I'll ease the jib off just a little bit, and I'll ease the main sheet off a little bit. I leave the traveler in place there. And when I say a little bit, usually the jib cracks off on half a minute.
Do you want the traveler to do you want the boom along the center line of the boat most of the time, or do you take it to weather?
Never weather.
Okay.
I mean, the boat will do it. Don't get me wrong, the boat will do it. And like in a sunfish, when you're out there racing the sunfish, the main has such a great effect because it starts around in the front and ends around in the back, that people that start to weather behind you, you can change their air. And the J is the same way. Literally, if there's someone on your hip, if this is you right here on the right, there's someone on your hip, you can travel up and you can climb right into their face. And they'll catch right up to you. Guess what happens? They catch up to you, their only option is to take a dive down. And your main is so big that it disturbs the air so much, it's extremely hard for him to blow through you unless he does about a 15 to 20 degree angle. So if the temptation is to keep sailing high, but you're so slow. Seriously, you can sail at 5 knots and just pinch. The boat will do that, which is good because it's got this option where it can climb up and get to that next puck, right? Or in the last series race, I was breaking in crude. Actually, this crew, only one person had been on a J before, okay? And so I was kind of teasing around the course, and I fouled Claude, and we were just having a great time. And
You want a grace?
Well, it's important to make sure your drinks don't go overboard, okay? Especially with a beginner crew, you're just trying to teach everybody. So we took hotter angles, we did that kind of, did sails low, but when we rounded the lure mark and it was almost a one tacker all the way up to the weather mark, I opted to take the low road and just go as fast as I can. And because even if I stayed even with my competitors, okay, even if I stayed completely even, and I was started like right here, and if I could get to here, on a 30-degree shift, I'm ahead of them. And that's kind of what happened. So I just put the bow down and went to the